The crying girl in the cargo hold. The cargo ship was silent. Too silent. Riven, a human cargo inspector, walked through the long metal hallway with a flashlight in one hand and his scanner in the other. The ship had been found drifting near the edge of the Solara belt. Empty. No signs of life, no crew, no distress signal. Just floating. Lost. He had checked the engine room, the bridge, and the crew quarters. Nothing. Everything looked like it had been untouched for weeks. Still, something didn't feel right. And then, he heard it. A soft sound, like a tiny whimper. Barely there, Riven stopped. He turned off his scanner and held his breath. The sound came again, a child, crying. His heart pounded. No way, ... he whispered. That can't be. The sound led him to the cargo hold. The massive doors creaked as he pushed them open. Inside, the air was cold, and the room smelled of metal, old fruit, and engine oil. Crates were scattered everywhere, some broken, some sealed. He moved slowly, carefully, listening. Then he saw it, a small crate tipped over, glowing faintly. Behind it, someone was hiding. "Hello?" Riven called gently. "Is someone there?" The crying stopped. He took a few slow steps forward and crouched down. A pair of large, glowing purple eyes stared back at him. It was a child. A small alien girl, no older than 6, with pale blue skin, pointed ears, and silver white hair. Her tiny body was shaking. She was barefoot, her clothes torn, and she held a crystal pendant tightly in her hands, like it was her only treasure. She didn't speak. She just stared at him, breathing fast, ready to run. Riven put down his flashlight. "It's okay," he said in a soft voice. "I won't hurt you." The girl opened her mouth, and one trembling word came out. "Mama." Riven's heart cracked. This girl, she was alone. Scared, possibly the only survivor of whatever had happened to this ship. "Where's your mom?" he asked, keeping his voice calm. No answer. Just tears. She tried to crawl backward, but her tiny body was weak. She had clearly not eaten in days. Her knees were bruised, her hands scratched, and her lips dry. Riven slowly reached into his bag and took out a protein bar. He unwrapped it and placed it on the ground, sliding it toward her. "Here, eat. You must be hungry." The girl sniffed it, then snatched it up and began eating like a starving animal. Riven didn't stop her. He just sat there, watching, thinking. How did a little girl end up alone on a ghost ship? Who left her here? Was it an attack? A kidnapping? Or something worse? Once she was done eating, she crawled a little closer to him. She didn't speak again, but she stared at him, curious, scared, but maybe trusting him, just a little. Riven gently lifted her into his arms. She was so light it hurt to feel it. As he carried her through the hallway toward his small ship, she rested her head on his shoulder and whispered something in a strange alien language. He didn't understand, but her last word was clear. "Papa." He stopped. He looked at her. Confused. "Papa?" She nodded slightly, then closed her eyes. Riven didn't know what to do. He wasn't a father. He wasn't even good with kids. But something in her touch, something in her soft voice, made him feel like he had no choice. Like the universe had dropped her into his hands for a reason. As he reached his ship, his communicator buzzed. "Alert. Royal class genetic signature detected. Warning, do not interfere. Level 5 asset, consequences. Lethal. Riven froze. Royal class." What the hell was that? He looked down at the girl sleeping in his arms. Who was she? And what had he just gotten himself into? Secrets of the royal bloodline. The girl didn't speak much. In fact, for the first 2 days aboard Riven's small ship, she barely said a word at all. She only followed him, quiet like a shadow, holding that crystal pendant close to her chest. Sometimes she looked out the window at the stars. Other times she curled up under a blanket, whispering to herself in a language he didn't understand. Riven had started calling her Mia. She didn't protest the name. In fact, she smiled the first time he said it. A small smile, but it lit up her face. It made her look less like a lost creature and more like a child. But something about her still didn't feel normal. On the third day, while checking her vitals with a scanner, the machine glitched. Then it beeped. Warning: genetic. Class: Royal. Cross-reference forbiddens. System auto-lock in 5 seconds. The screen froze. The machine shut down. What the hell? Riven whispered. He tapped the console, but it wouldn't turn back on. Not until he unplugged it and reset the whole system. He looked at Mia. She was watching him. Her glowing eyes calm, but deep, like she already knew. Are you someone important? He asked her. She just tilted her head and hugged her crystal pendant tighter. Later that day, Riven went into the nearby spaceport to buy supplies. He left Mia in his ship with the II locks activated. She was safe, or so he thought. When he returned, he found a strange man waiting near the ship. Bald, tall, with pale gray skin and black armor. A bounty hunter. You seen a blue girl with silver hair? The man asked casually, spinning a data disk on his finger. Riven's heart skipped. No. Why? Missing royal brood. Big reward. Also a big death penalty if someone's caught hiding her. The man smiled. But it wasn't friendly. It was a warning. Riven forced a fake laugh. Nope, haven't seen anyone like that. Good luck. The man narrowed his eyes but said nothing more. He turned and walked away. Riven didn't waste a second. He ran into his ship and locked every bolt. Inside, Mia was sitting on the floor, drawing strange symbols on the screen with her finger. They glowed for a second, then vanished. What are you doing? Riven asked. She looked up at him and said softly, They are looking for me. It was the first full sentence she'd spoken in Galactic Standard. He crouched beside her. Why? Who are you? Mia's lips trembled. She hesitated, then placed the glowing pendant in his hand. It pulsed with a warm light. A strange symbol flashed inside a tree made of stars. Riven recognized it. He'd seen that symbol in history books. It belonged to the Orleth dynasty, one of the most feared and powerful alien royal families. But they were wiped out during the Great Uprising almost a decade ago. All of them were declared dead. But now, you're one of them, Riven whispered. Mia nodded. My mother sent me away before the fire. She said the stars would protect me. Riven sat down, overwhelmed. He wasn't just hiding a lost girl. He was sheltering the last living heir of a royal bloodline, one that many powerful people would kill to erase or control. He looked at her. Do you have any powers? Mia stood. She raised her hand. The pendant floated upward, slowly, glowing brighter and brighter until it filled the room with a soft white light. For a moment, Riven could hear voices in his head, whispers, memories that weren't his. He dropped the pendant, in shock. It fell back into Mia's hand. She said nothing, just stared at him with calm eyes. Riven breathed heavily. Well, that's not normal. Mia giggled. It was the first time she had laughed, but the moment didn't last. His communicator buzzed. Alert. Unmarked ships detected nearby. Tracking pattern suggests bounty radar sweep. Recommendation: leave orbit immediately. Riven looked at the screen, then back at Mia. He had a choice. He could leave her somewhere, report the lost asset, and walk away, or he could do what he already knew was right. He grabbed the controls. Buckle in, princess. We're going dark. Mia looked confused. What's dark? It means we disappear, Riven said with a smirk, and keep you safe. Her mother arrives. The night was calm. Too calm. Riven's ship was hidden deep in the Redmus Nebula, parked quietly inside an old mining bay that hadn't seen life in years. The air outside was toxic. The walls were full of rust. But inside the ship, The lights were warm, and Mia was finally sleeping peacefully. He watched her from the cockpit camera. She had tucked herself in with a blanket too big for her. The crystal pendant still clutched in her hand like it was part of her body. Riven leaned back in his chair, rubbing his tired eyes. He hadn't slept well in days. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw bounty hunters, military cruisers, or worse. Mia being taken, he couldn't let that happen, but then the lights flickered. A low vibration ran through the hull. Riven sat up. What the? Warning. Unauthorized lifeform has entered through rear hatch. Hull breach in Sector 4. His blood ran cold. He grabbed his sidearm and ran toward the back corridor. His boots echoed as he passed the sleeping quarters, the storage bay, the engine room. And then he stopped. The rear airlock door was wide open. Smoke and frost rolled across the floor. A figure stepped through. Tall, strong, wearing silver and black armor that shimmered in the ship's emergency lights. The figure's face was hidden under a jagged metallic helmet with sharp ridges like a crown. The air around her crackled with energy. And in her arms, she held a weapon, long and curved, like a blade carved from the bones of a star creature. Riven raised his gun. Don't move. The figure tilted her head, slowly removing the helmet. What he saw made him freeze. She was beautiful, but not in a soft way. Her face was sharp, carved by war. Her skin was pale blue like Mia's, but her eyes glowed gold, full of fury and pain. Her long silver hair flowed like liquid metal, and she looked exactly like Mia. She didn't speak. Not at first. She simply walked past him like he wasn't a threat at all. Like he was beneath her. Riven followed, gun still up. Stop. I don't know who you are, but you're not taking her. She didn't stop. She headed straight for the sleeping chamber. Mia's eyes were already open. She sat up and whispered, "Mama?" The tall woman dropped her weapon. Her knees hit the floor. Mia. The child ran into her arms without fear, and they held each other tightly. A faint golden light glowed between their foreheads as they touched. It was some kind of psychic connection, something ancient and sacred. Riven lowered his gun, confused, stunned. "You're her mother?" The alien woman turned her head toward him, slowly rising to her feet with Mia in her arms. "I am Soraka," she said, voice deep and strong. "Commander of the Oralef Guard, royal blood of the 9th moon, and the mother of this child." Riven nodded slowly. "Okay, got it. And you just broke into my ship?" She walked toward him. "You fed her, protected her, taught her how to laugh again. I didn't do it for a reward." "I know," she said, stepping closer. "That's why I've come." Riven tensed. "To kill me? No." She looked him straight in the eyes. "To claim you." Riven blinked. "What?" Soraka's golden eyes narrowed. "You adopted my daughter. In my absence, you gave her warmth, food, safety. That is not a small thing in my culture. It is a binding act. I didn't do it for. It does not matter what you thought," she said, stepping even closer now. "By ancient law, you are now her guardian, and by tradition, that makes you mine as well." Silence fell. Mia looked up at him, confused but curious. Riven stared at Soraka like she had grown a second head. "You can't just claim people." Soraka raised one eyebrow. "I can, and I have." She dropped something at his feet. It was a silver ring, glowing faintly with the same Tree of Stars symbol as Mia's pendant. "You are now part of the royal bond," she said. "Refusal is death. Agreement is honor." Riven picked up the ring slowly. "This is insane," Soraka smirked. "Welcome to my world, human." Living with a warrior queen, Riven was used to living alone. He liked silence. He liked order. He liked knowing where his socks were. But now, his ship was no longer his own. There was a child singing strange songs in the hallway. There was a giant, alien woman sharpening her sword in the kitchen. And there was a whole royal bonding tradition he didn't understand, hanging over his head. Like a thunder cloud, that's Air Akamaya's mother. The warrior queen had made herself at home. She slept on the floor without a blanket, ate raw protein packs with her teeth, and didn't believe in wearing full clothes inside the ship. "Your ship is too warm," she said flatly one morning, standing in the common room wearing just a chest wrap and a leather skirt made of her old armor straps. "Coverings are not needed." Riven choked on his coffee. Mia just giggled. Life had changed, but not just in silly ways. There was danger. Riven knew it. He could feel it like a low buzz in the air. Ever since Soraka arrived, the stars outside seemed sharper. The eye detected several patrol scans flying too close to their hideout. Bounty networks were suddenly active again. They were being watched. "You brought attention to us," Riven said one evening as he worked on recalibrating the cloaking system. Soraka stood beside him, arms crossed. "No, I brought protection." "You also brought a royal symbol that lights up like a distress beacon every time you sneeze." She smiled. "It's not my fault you built your ship like a child's toy." Riven muttered under his breath. "I miss when it was just me and the stars." "You don't mean that," she said quietly. He looked at her. She was staring out the window at Mia, who was drawing on the walls with a glowing marker. "She laughs now," Soraka said softly. Before, she didn't speak for months. Riven didn't respond. He didn't need to. He had noticed. Mia wasn't the same girl he had found crying in a cargo hold. She was blooming now, stronger, braver, and maybe it wasn't just because of him. Soraka turned to him. "If you are to be part of this bond, you must train." Riven raised an eyebrow. "Train? In case of attack. I'm not a soldier." "You are now," she said, tossing him a practice blade. "Lesson 1, don't die." The next morning, training began. Soraka was brutal. She pushed him, knocked him down, corrected his stance, made him repeat moves until his muscles screamed. "You fight like a flower," she said after the 5th fall. "I'm a technician." He gasped. "You're a protector now. Fight like one." By the 3rd day, Riven was stronger. By the 5th, he could block her strikes. By the 7th, he managed to make her stumble once. She smiled. "Good," she said. "Now you're worthy of standing beside me." That night, Soraka did something she hadn't done before. She cooked. It wasn't great, some kind of spiced alien stew with floating orange cubes, but she made it by hand. Mia clapped excitedly. When it was ready, they ate together, talked, laughed. Riven even caught Soraka smiling, not a smirk, but a real, gentle smile. Later, while Mia slept, Riven and Soraka stood outside the ship, under the thick red glow of the nebula. "She will be hunted," Soraka said, "as long as she lives. I know, you will be hunted too. Because you chose her, and now you've chosen me." Riven looked at her. She didn't sound cold tonight. Her voice was softer. Like she wasn't a commander or a queen, just a mother. "A woman. I didn't plan this," he admitted. "I just saw a crying girl in the dark. I couldn't leave her." Soraka touched his shoulder. "In my world, that makes you more than a man." He looked into her glowing gold eyes. For once, he didn't feel like just a technician. He felt like something more, a protector, a partner, a father. And maybe something else. Inside the ship, Mia stirred in her sleep. Her pendant glowed brighter than usual. And far, far away in the shadows of space, several ships received the signal. They were no longer hiding. They were being hunted. The threat from her past. The lights flickered again. But this time, it wasn't the ship. It was Mia. She stood in the center of the room, her eyes glowing faint purple. The pendant around her neck floated mid-air. Sparks danced at her fingertips like tiny stars waking from sleep. Riven rushed to her. "Mia, stop, what's happening?" She didn't hear him. She was whispering in a language no translator could decode. Ancient, powerful, her small body glowed faintly, like a star trapped in a child's skin. Then just like that it ended. She collapsed. Soraka was there in a second, catching her before she hit the floor. Riven stood frozen. What was that? Soraka held her daughter close, her face pale. It's beginning. What's beginning? Soraka placed Mia gently on the couch and looked at Riven, her gold eyes dimmer than usual. She's awakening. Riven blinked. Awakening what? She's a child. Soraka took a long breath. Not just any child. She walked to the wall panel, tapped a few commands, and pulled up a locked hologram. It showed a dark burning palace, explosions, falling towers, screaming voices. The Aralith dynasty didn't fall by war, she said. We were betrayed. By who? By my own sister. Riven looked shocked. She wanted the throne. She fed lies to the high clans, said the royal bloodline had grown too dangerous. Said my daughter would be a monster when she awakened. And? Is she? Soraka turned. No, but they will believe she is. And that fear will make them try to kill her. Riven sat down slowly. Everything was spinning, so you sent Mia away to hide her from them. I sent her off-world, hidden in a merchant ship, but it was attacked. The crew panicked. They dumped the cargo. They left her. Her voice cracked slightly. I searched for years. And now they know you've found her. Soraka nodded. They will come. For her, for me, and for you. Riven let out a nervous laugh. Great. So I'm marked too now? You were marked the moment you picked her up. He looked at the sleeping girl. Even now, with her face calm and peaceful, there was something different about her. She wasn't normal. But she wasn't scary either. She's just a kid, he whispered. No, Soraka said. She's a key. Riven stood. Key to what? Soraka hesitated, then said, she carries the last of the royal essence. If she survives the awakening, she can claim the throne again, unite the scattered clans, end the war, but only if her heart remains pure. Riven frowned. What do you mean? If she feels too much pain, too much betrayal. Soraka looked away. She could lose control. She has the power to destroy entire worlds if her spirit breaks. The room went silent. Suddenly, the alarm rang. Incoming ships detected. 3 vessels. ID. High clan signal. Hostile status confirmed. Soraka's eyes sharpened. They found us. She ran to the weapons locker. Riven stared at the screen. The ships were fast, well armed. They would be on top of them in minutes. This ship isn't a war cruiser, he said. We can't fight them. We won't. She tossed him a small device. We'll run. We'll disappear. It won't work. They'll track us. Not if you do what I say. Soraka activated a device and spoke quickly. Initiating blood bond scramble. Target, royal child. Command transfer to bonded male. Riven froze. Wait me. What are you doing? I'm transferring her signature to you. You're already linked by care and touch. Now you'll mask her presence. And what if it fails? Then you both die. Riven swallowed hard. He looked down at Mia. She stirred slightly, eyes half open. Papa. He touched her hand. She smiled, and the glow faded. Soraka stood beside him. You still have time to walk away. Riven shook his head. I walked in the moment I heard her cry. The device beeped, signature masked. Escape probability increased by 42%. Soraka pressed the launch button. The ship burst from the mining bay, just as enemy fire struck where they had stood. Behind them, the old hideout collapsed. Ahead of them, unknown stars waited, and a war just. Behind the bonding ceremony, the ship floated in dead space. Engines off, lights dimmed. Life support on emergency mode. They were invisible now, hidden between radiation fields and asteroid shadows. Far from any planet, far from any signal, but inside the ship. It wasn't quiet. Mia was burning up. She lay in a small medical pod, her eyes glowing wildly, her skin shifting between pale blue and glowing white. The pendant on her chest flickered like a dying star. Riven sat beside her, holding her tiny hand. "Her fever won't go down," he said, voice cracked. "Your tech isn't working. She's getting worse." Soraka stood across the room, staring at the floor. "She's entering the final phase," she said softly. "The awakening is trying to complete. But she's too young, too unbalanced. She's a child," Riven shouted. "She's not ready." Soraka nodded. "That's why she needs a bond." He looked up. "A what?" Soraka met his eyes. "The royal bloodline carries powerful energy, but it cannot survive alone. It needs an anchor, someone to guide the soul, someone to hold the heart steady during the awakening. And that someone is me. You're already halfway bonded. She trusts you. You calmed her, fed her, loved her." She walked slowly toward him. "Now, you must become more." Riven stood. "Tell me what I need to do." Soraka stepped close. "You must complete the family bond." He hesitated. "Explain." "In our culture, it means a full soul link, not just with Mia, but with me." He blinked. "Wait, like marriage? Deeper, stronger, unbreakable. You will feel what I feel. Share memories, pain, desire, fear, and I will carry yours." He looked at Mia, then back at Soraka. "Will it save her?" "It's the only way." Riven paused for a long moment. Finally he nodded. "Then let's do it." Soraka walked to the center of the ship's chamber. She activated a small circle on the floor. Lights rose, soft and blue. The walls shimmered with old symbols. The air grew warm. "Step into the circle." He did. She stepped in after him. Then she reached up and touched his forehead gently. "Close your eyes," she whispered. "Let me in." The world faded. Suddenly, Riven wasn't standing on Metal. He was inside Soraka's mind. He saw her first battle. Her crying as she held Mia for the first time. Her rage when her sister betrayed her. Her pain as she searched for Mia alone, year after year. He felt it all. Then he felt her touch his memories, his loneliness, his broken past, his failures. His quiet evenings staring at the stars, wishing for something more. Soraka opened her eyes. She was crying. "You were lost too," she whispered. He nodded. "Until I found her. And then, you." Light surged from their bodies. Their hands met. Across the room. Mia gasped. The pendant around her neck exploded into dust. A golden light circled her small body like rings of a planet. Then peace. She breathed calmly for the first time in hours. Her eyes opened. "Papa?" He rushed to her. Soraka stood beside them. The bond was complete. Mia was safe. But something had changed. They weren't just protector and princess anymore. They were family. Bound by pain, love, and choice. Riven looked up at Soraka. "You okay?" She didn't answer. Instead, she knelt in front of him with her head bowed. "I am yours now," she said quietly. "By ancient law, by blood, by spirit." He stepped forward, gently lifting her chin. "No," he said. "We're each other's. Now." The new family. The stars outside were quiet. But war was coming. Riven stood at the cockpit, eyes locked on the incoming ships. 3 of them. All High Clan warships. Big, heavy, designed for one thing only: elimination. "They found us again," he muttered. Behind him, Soraka stepped forward in full armor. Silver plates shimmered over her body. Her long hair was tied back and her blade was strapped across her back. "No more running," she said. "It's time." Mia stood beside them, smaller but glowing, calm now, no longer trembling. Her awakening was complete. The bond had worked, but she wasn't just a child anymore. She was the last of the Orlef bloodline, and she had chosen her family. "Are you ready?" Soraka asked. Riven cracked his knuckles. "No, but let's do it. Anyway." The ship trembled as the first warning shot fired near them. Incoming hail. Surrender the royal child. All others will be eliminated. Riven smiled coldly. He pressed the come button. Tell your masters, he said, she's not a child anymore. She's ours. Then he cut the signal. Soraka turned to him. They won't stop, I know, he said, but neither will we. She looked at him not as a human, not as a stranger, but as her bondmate, her equal. Her family. She nodded. Then, let's show them what a real bond looks like. The first ship launched boarding pods, but Soraka was already waiting. She met them blade first, slicing through armor like paper. Her war cry echoed across the halls. She wasn't just defending her daughter, she was unleashing years of rage, pain, and love all at once. Mia stayed near the heart of the ship, glowing brighter, her energy pulsing through the systems. Every time she touched the walls, the ship responded. Faster shields, sharper sensors, smarter weapons. She had become one with it. And Riven? He was on the front line too. Not with a gun, but with his brain. He hacked their comms, jammed their targeting, and rerouted power to Soraka's armor. For the first time in his life, the stars were his battlefield. Together, they were unstoppable. The enemy didn't understand. They thought they were hunting a scared child and a broken queen. They didn't expect a family. One by one, the enemy ships fell back. Their commanders were confused. Why are they fighting so hard for a single child? They didn't understand the answer, because this wasn't just about Mia. This was about hope. This was about belonging. This was about a little girl who once cried in a cargo hold, and the man who picked her up without asking for anything in return. The final enemy ship sent out a desperate message, retreating, awaiting new orders. Target too unpredictable. Human interference too strong. Riven sat back in his chair, breathing heavily. We did it. Soraka walked in, her armor scorched, her blade glowing with heat. She looked at him and smiled. You fought like a warrior. He grinned. I fought like a dad. She moved close and pulled him into a kiss, firm, raw, and full of meaning. When she pulled away, her voice was soft. Our bond is real. But it was not tradition that made me stay. He looked at her. Then, what was it? She reached down, took Mia's hand, and placed it in his. It was you. Mia smiled, eyes glowing gently. You're my papa, always. Riven's throat tightened. He knelt down. And you're my daughter, forever. Soraka placed her hand over theirs. Then we are family. In the days that followed, stories began to spread. Of a warrior queen who returned from the dead. Of a human man who bonded with the unbondable. Of a child who glowed like the stars and called a human her father. And in the darkest corners of the galaxy, hope began to grow again. Because sometimes, it only takes one choice to build a new world. And sometimes that choice is to love.